Surely they can't be serious. They are, but don't call them Shirley. Need an education on how to grow your business? The Nice Guys are here to help. Learn about great customer service, networking, and how just being nice can help you prosper. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
Hey, Nice Guy community, welcome back. Welcome back. It is another interview show today. How are you guys doing today?
Well, am I you all guys?
I guess so, because I'm talking to the audience, but they're really not there. They can't listen back. My name's Strickland Bonner. I am half of the Nice Guys on Business, and that's Doug Sandler on the other side of the mic. He's the other half.
I thought you were going to say, hi, everybody. I thought you were going to say that when you said I'm half of the, I thought you were going to say I'm half in the bag. That's where you're going there.
That's our Wednesday. No, that's our Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday shows now.
So wait, so I'm a little confused. So are we 5 episodes a week, or are we just doing 3 episodes?
No, we're going with 5 episodes a week, and we're going to see what happens. See if we can keep up the pace. And we don't need sleep. We can sleep when we're dead.
Strick, you work. I mean, more than any person actually has the right to work. You sleep less than anybody I know, and work more hours for the man than anybody that how do you balance all that?
I'm like a Jamaican. I have no idea, honestly.
Wait. Hold on a second. I have to gotta go to the Nice Guys on Business map and see how many we have that listen in
see how many listeners we just lost in Jamaica.
Exactly. Yeah, we probably lost just a few of them. But you know what? Yeah. Actually, because they're in Jamaica, they haven't tuned into the show yet because I hear that on the island everything is very slow.
That's actually kind of bad because isn't it Jamaicans that have lots of jobs, but they do move kind of slow, and that's not really me, so that's probably a bad description. But yes, as anybody who's been listening to the show knows, I average 5.5, 6 hours a night of sleep. And obviously, it hasn't affected me at all.
Usain Bolt.
Oh, is he from Jamaica?
I'm pretty sure that he
goes pretty fast.
He's really fast. What do you mean pretty fast?
Fastest man in the world, right?
In the world. I'm pretty sure. Can you look him up? Or are you dealing still with it?
He is the fastest man in the world, but we really don't want to get off the subject too much because this is not this is our intro to our interview day.
Oh, okay. Well, should we talk about our guest, or should we do the promise statement?
We should do the promise statement. Do you have it up?
I do.
Amazing.
I'm actually very prepared. Sean Carpenter came up with a very valid point. He said, shorten the promise statement, Doug, or I'm not listening anymore. So I decided we'll come up with one sentence. So here it is. The Nice Guys on Business promise statement. Nice Guy community, you are important to us. Without you, we have no show. We are open to your ideas, your advice, and your wisdom. Our goal is to provide the most entertaining podcast experience ever. Period. The end. That is the end of the promise statement. We want to hear from you. So in order to hear from us, to tell us what you want more of and less of, reach out. I am on Twitter at DJ Doug. That guy over there, Strick, at Nice Guy on Biz with a Z. We have a new, brighter, prouder, lovely landing page now. The Nice Guys on Business.com landing page. It has access to the Facebook community. It has access to the bonus stuff. It has access to all the episodes right there. Please take a moment if you're listening on Overcast, iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you are. Hey, I was
also they can call 4242 DJ Doug 24/7.
That's
but
true.
Nobody does. It's like getting dust on it. We have the number probably doesn't work anymore because nobody calls.
It goes right to my cell phone. If somebody calls that number, I bet I will pick up the phone. So
I thought it would just go right to voicemail.
No. Did I set it up to go right to voicemail?
I thought you did, because what if somebody calls at 3:00 in the morning?
Well, I don't care. I don't put my ringer on anyway. I got so many tangents, and we really can't go in tangent land today because we have this great show that is planned for us. But let me just spend a moment telling you something. Do you think that you could take your phone, turn your ringer off, turn the vibrate function off, and survive?
Well, I could survive. I don't know that I'd be very happy about it, but I could survive, sure.
I found that probably about 2 or 3 years ago, excuse me, I turned off the ringer and I turned off the vibrate function. The only time I will recognize if the phone is ringing or a text is coming in is actually if I have it on the table or in front of me or on my desk so that I can see the light from the phone. Mm-hmm. I was finding that when I was in a meeting and the phone was in my pocket and it used to vibrate because it was on, I didn't want to disturb the person I was having a meeting with.
Right.
So I would just have it, buzz at me. It was distracting me. and it would throw me off. You know me, I'm as linear as they possibly can be. I'm not a multitasking kind of guy. I can't do two things at the same time without tripping on my shoelaces. Mm-hmm. So I turned everything off. At my life, my efficiency and productivity skyrocketed. Would you believe that?
Amazing. I do realize that even when I'm at work, and I know there's nothing I really absolutely positively have to answer on my personal phone when I'm at work, but I do look at it quite a bit. And I shouldn't. Because, Doug, when you text me in the middle of the day, you're like, hey, I'm working. And I'm like, hey, I'm working too. Okay. But I answer you anyway, right? I
was thinking about that. Yeah, you do. You're very quick to respond during the day. And I think, maybe I shouldn't text him. And I say, no, fuck it. I want to see if he actually will still talk to me. And you do. Very rare. Very rare.
I get right back to you. So our guest today, Mr. Dayne Shuda.
Yeah, Dayne Shuda.
He's interesting company.
It's a totally interesting company. As simple as it might sound, Dayne Shuda owns a company called Ghost Blog Writers. So ghostblogwriters.com. We'll put the information in the show notes there. What do you think that he does?
Writes ghost blogs?
Yeah, for other people. Doesn't it sound like that would be so simple?
No, I think it would be very complicated because you have to come up with so many ideas.
Well, and what's challenging about the whole idea of being a ghost blog writer is that most people, you have to sometimes convince people that having a blog is a good thing. Like, if you were to poll the audience right now, the Nice Guy community, how many people do you think actually have a blog?
Oh, gosh, I have no idea. But apparently companies that blog get 80% more new visits than companies that don't. That is direct from his ghostblogwriters.com website.
And I believe that he wouldn't have it on his website unless it was true, but it is definitely true. I started writing my blog about 3 years ago, and without my blog, I would say the vast majority of my network would be nil. I mean, I've built my entire email list off of social media and my blog, and using social media, I drive people back to my website where my blog, even if I just have a couple of sentences, a paragraph. I used to start with just a paragraph or two, and it took me, I remember back in the beginning, I would dedicate like 6 hours to write my blog, and that was just way, way too much time. Uh-huh. And recently, in the last few months, I just said, I need to tighten it up like the national parks. I need to tighten it up a little bit. And if I can't do my blog in 60 minutes, then I don't do it at all. I mean, and I have done my blog consistently over 150 weeks. It's great. Blogs are great for marketing. If you don't feel like you need a blog, I really do think that you should listen to what Dayne has to say. Really, really good guy, smart guy, laid back, chill guy, super chill guy. So in between the lines, you will definitely be able to hear that blogging is essential in order to have a business.
Cool. Well, Doug, I understand we have a sponsor today, so we cannot quite get to it yet. We're going to take a quick, brief message from our sponsor first, right?
Excellent. Yeah. Mantra Munchies. You love them. I know you love them.
I'm not like super monster healthy guy, but I do love the Mantra Munchies.
They are good. It's like candy, but with a healthy spin.
Exactly.
All right, let's...
Okay, so then we'll get to our quick ad for Mantra Munchies and then right into our interview with Dayne Shuda.
Excellent. Let's do it.
Hey, Doug, so today we're going to talk about our sponsor, Mantra Munchies, but I mean, they're not even really like a sponsor because I just want to talk about them all the time because they're so good.
I fell in love with not only Kendall, but her cookie dough creations.
So you're trying to say that the universe has brought us together?
Yeah, I think so. Do you believe in a higher power, Strick?
I believe in cookie dough creations from Mantra Munchies because I do not want to stop eating them because they're so good.
They are good. So
I find it hard to believe they're actually healthy for me.
What's the Nice Guy one called?
The Nice Guy richer edition of the Goaty OG cookies. And they're not my favorites specifically because they were named after us. They're just my favorites. They're so good.
So many good things. Where has Mantra Munchies been my entire... You think they should probably hand them out when you go to like yoga class? I was going to say yogurt class. Hey, shows how many yoga classes I've actually been to. When you go to yoga, at the end of the class, they should probably hand you one of those cool mix-ins that they have.
They have the sweet and creamy, which is the cold that I have actually made my shakes with the sweet and creamy before. Deliciously sweet and creamy, but no sugar. It uses organic coconut milk creamer. They're so good. I put it in my shakes the other day. It's so good.
What makes the most sense to me is you make no-bake dry mixes.
Make no-bake.
Just mix, roll, and eat. It is that simple.
No, all of this stuff, it is amazing because it's gluten-free, dairy-free, organic. They use raw ingredients. Not all of them are vegan, but many of them are vegan. And with all of that, they still taste great. I am not a guy who says, I only put the most perfect, pure stuff into my body. I eat badly. But with this, I will eat well. This will get me healthy.
Remember, Strickland, everything in moderation, my friend. I've seen you overloading on the hempy fudgy brownies, my brother.
Oh my gosh, so good.
Just take it easy. Take it easy. So
they also have chia chocolate cookie coconut clusters.
Oh, so many great things. I think about Mantra Munchies a lot. I think about them at work. I think about coming home. I can't wait to have a wonderful snack. It's
when I wake up in the morning, it's the first thing I think of eating.
Is it really?
Not yet, but I think it will be soon.
It definitely will be soon. Well, how can our nice guy community get a hold of Mantra Munchies, Strickland?
They can go to mantramunchies.com and click the buy now, because this stuff is so good. Or they can go to our website, niceguysonbusiness.com, and click the Mantra Munchies link there. Tell them the nice guy sent you.
And make sure that you get in touch with Kendall also. She wants to talk to you. She wants to hear of your experience with Mantra Munchies too. Please.
And we do too. You should call in 4242 and tell us about it because we want to hear about it too.
We do. All right, Mantra Munchies, let's get to it. In 2010, when blogging really was getting, I guess, a running start and becoming more popular, our guest today, Dayne Shuda, founded a company called Ghostblogging. It's an interesting concept. Let's have a chat with the CEO. Welcome to the Nice Guys on Business podcast, Dayne.
Thank you for having me on.
Hey, it's our pleasure. I mean, how did we come together originally? Did I reach out to you? Did you reach out to me? When I am struggling to find a unique concept, something oftentimes will strike, and maybe your concept did, or am I just kind of making that up and you reached out to me? How'd that happen?
I reached out to you guys. I came across your podcast, listened to a couple episodes, and just thought I'd reach out and make a connection.
Dayne, normally when people actually listen to a couple episodes, they run the other way. So what about our audience, the Nice Guys community? What about our audience kind of enticed you to think that you fit in, or this was something that was good for you to be a part of?
I like kind of the overall concept and just basically the name, the Nice Guys on Business. I think for whatever reason, I think a lot of people kind of look at business people or entrepreneurs and think, the aggressive, outgoing type of person. And that's been my experience a little bit, but I've also discovered that a lot of entrepreneurs, people in business, are the nice person. They're patient and kind of work behind the scenes almost. So I think you can have both sides. So that right away appealed to me. And I would say I probably fit a little more in that quiet personality, and that you can be successful in business and be nice and that kind of thing. So that appealed to me. That was one reason why I stopped by and listened to a few episodes.
Nice Guy community, so that you are aware exactly how nice Dayne actually is and how quiet he could be. And I didn't realize that until having this conversation or having a conversation. Boy, I'm going to have to really pull back the reins of my noise level because I know how noisy I can be. But Dayne and I had an appointment scheduled for him to come on the podcast and for me to interview him. For some reason, on the day of the scheduled appointment, I didn't even look at my schedule. I was moving my son out to college, and I completely missed the appointment. It wasn't until days later that I looked back on my schedule and I said, holy shit, I missed an appointment. I better get in touch with Dayne, thinking there's no way that you would ever, and mistakes happen. So I always tell everybody as an entrepreneur, mistakes happen. It's what happens next that really counts. So, I don't know. I guess it's something in my follow up with you said, hey, this guy is obviously, he just flubbed it, and we all flub it. And I'm assuming you and your business have flubbed as well.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And that's kind of what I assume. I always like to assume, it's never anything on purpose or malice when stuff like that happens. It's usually something comes up, or just something slips. And yeah, that happens all the time. It's never enjoyable when it happens, but yeah, usually for the most part, if you work with reasonable people, and you can get past that kind of stuff real quick.
So Dayne, let's talk about your company for a second. You have this company, it's called Ghostblogging. Now, the name sounds like it would be obvious that you write blogs for other people. Is that basically the gist of what you do?
Yep. It's pretty straightforward. Kind of picked the name. I couldn't really think of anything else. And that was pretty straightforward. It's ghostwriting for business blogs, or if a business wants to maintain a regular blog, 1 to 2 posts a week on their website, build up content on their website to help bring in their audience more traffic over time, but they don't have the resources, or they don't have the time, or they don't really have the interest themselves in writing the post. That's kind of the need that we fill. So that's kind of the basic rundown of the business. Yeah.
So Dayne, we always, you and I are in the thick of it. You probably more so than I, because you have a business that actually is generated through writing blogs. And I actually have a blog as well. And I've been writing, I've lost count, somewhere around 150 posts over the last 3 years that I've done. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's not as obvious to us, but why is blogging? There's a lot of people in our community that I'm sure don't have a blog, don't ever want a blog, don't think a blog is important. Why, in your opinion, is blogging so important?
On a very basic level, it's just kind of, I look at it as giving people a reason to come to your website. If you have a small business, it might have 5 to 10 pages on the website. It explains what you do. But outside of that, it's hard for someone to discover that. And I look at blogging or podcasting or videos or any other type of content that you add to your website. That gives over time, it gives people a lot of content to discover, whether it's through search, email, social media, a friend just mentioning it. The more content you have, it gives your target audience more of a likelihood of discovering your business.
And what's nice about it too is that it kind of makes you the unrecognized expert in that industry. Maybe nobody is pointing to you saying, "Hey, this guy is an expert in customer service," or "This guy's an expert in HVAC," or "This guy's an expert in insurance," or selling, or law, or any number of different things. So, talk about for a second the idea of becoming an expert in a field, because isn't that really what blogging is about, is driving traffic to your website based upon you writing an article that's a non-sales tool. You're providing content and you're giving it away to your audience?
It is. You're giving it away for free, but it's about I would say the main goal is building a trust with people. So it's in business, it's hard unless you have a great product or service, which you probably do have anyway, for someone to buy from you. If you can kind of identify a question that they have about if it's B2B, about their job, or if you're a B2C, kind of about their life, if you can help people with questions they have, they see you as a leader, but also someone that they can trust, because you've kind of paid it forward, helped them. And then if it comes down to when they see that they need your product versus a competitor, they're more than likely going to go with the person that's helped them. And so that's kind of how I look at it. It does build leadership, recognition for sure. But yeah, on the basic level, it's just kind of helping people with questions that they have. Even a very basic question, like if you're a dentist and you give some weekly tips on brushing techniques or food and drink and things like that. People appreciate it, even if it's small or if it's really a big change for their life.
What I have found over the last few years is that when I first started writing my blog, and this is back in 2013, I think it was, when I first started writing my blog, I would spend literally an entire day, one of my business days was spent on the writing. It was usually 1,500 words. It was about 6 to 8 hours of writing and research. And I discovered over time that you can't keep that pace, even if you only blog once a week. And once a week might be too much for some people. Maybe it's every other week, or maybe it's once a month. It just depends on when your newsletter or whatever your information comes out. As time evolved, though, I found that my audience was actually the shorter my blogs were, the more traffic I was getting, until I found that sweet spot. And this is really just this year. The sweet spot is somewhere between 20 to 30 seconds and, 500 words or less. So 400 words was like a really good one, and people can read it in 25, 30 seconds. Are you finding the same thing on your side, or do you like the longer format blogs?
And it's weird how it worked out. When I started blogging myself and the business kind of started growing a little bit, even without really planning it, our standard post, what we kind of call a regular or a standard post, is 600 to 800 words. And it's just kind of been a natural thing where it kind of worked out that way. It seems like, it takes a couple minutes to read. Maybe if you have some headings in there that kind of separate the content, people can scan through and get what they want. And it's quicker, but it's substance. We also have shorter posts, and we do have longer posts as well, depending on what the audience is looking for. It's just, it kind of depends on the audience. It kind of depends what question you're answering.
I see more. I guess I see more technical people liking to read a little bit longer, and people that are a little bit like entrepreneurs in general. I think shorter is better. Shorter, pointed information, bullet points. That's so. I mean, me as an entrepreneur, that's what I like to read, and I know that a lot of my friends who are also in business for themselves are like, who has time? Nobody has the time to read it. But if you're a technical guy and you want to know. Strick and I were joking a couple episodes ago about what would happen if the Earth stopped rotating. And like the 1,100 miles an hour, the Earth came to a complete screeching halt. And he started to get into and he's a details guy. So he spent a portion of our podcast just talking about all of the details. I'm thinking, this is boring now. So I guess for a technical guy, it's the longer blog scientifically is probably is a better thing. So talk about for a moment how a blog, and I know that it instills confidence and helps you build trust, but how do people even find it? So I'm a guy, I come to you and I say, I don't do a blog right now. I'm in the legal business. So I'm an attorney. I don't want to write a blog. I'm too busy with my clients. I want to hire you to do it. But how do people actually find any of the content that you're creating for this specific client?
Yeah. So the search part of it is definitely the long-term play. We look at 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road, especially from scratch, where a business has a website, really maybe hasn't been doing anything. That's kind of when you start seeing the search traffic. And that's just because in the mind of the search engine, your website might look fine. It might have great information about who you are and what you do. But beyond that, they really don't have a reason to trust your content that you're creating until you get to a certain point with the number of posts or whatever it might be that they can start ranking it for those things. So the other things that our clients do and that we do is if they have a social media following, it's sharing the post there, but also sharing it more than just once, sharing it in different kinds of ways. It's starting an email newsletter, which many businesses might have, or they've started but don't have content for, so blog posts weekly can kind of, keep them in touch with who's on their email list. And there's some other things you can do. There's some of our clients will pay to promote their posts through different channels like paid advertising. Some do guest posting where we might write a guest post for them and they publish it on a partner business's website or blog and things like that. So that's kind of how you do it in the early days, kind of looking at search as the long-term play. And some businesses are doing their own advertising on anyway, and they say, okay, I want you to create these posts for the long term, kind of while we're doing our other things to promote the business. We just know not every business is going to have the patience to invest in blogging or another form of content, and they kind of want it to build in the background. But that's kind of how it works to start bringing in the traffic.
Dayne, any idea what percentage of, if you have 100 listeners or if you have 100 people in the audience, any idea what percentage of people actually have a blog?
Ooh, that's tough. I do, just because of the business I'm in, I do go to quite a few blogs where it's a typical situation for a business and it's nothing they're doing wrong or anything like that. Just because it's hard is they'll have 5 ideas for posts when they launch the blog. They might do those all the first month. The next month they might struggle to get 2 ideas, and after 3-4 months, it's a lost cause.
So what do you find are you saying that consistency is probably more key than frequency?
Definitely. Yep. That's one of the big things I believe in is it's consistency, whether it's weekly. If you can do two a week, that's great. But, pull it back to 1 a week, make sure you can do that and then bump it up. Even if you have to start out at 1 a month, see how that goes, bump it up to 2 a month. But yeah, it's definitely the consistency, and you'll give yourself a break. If say you have 5 to 10 ideas right away, instead of publishing them all at once, give yourself a few months to work on those. And in the meantime, you can kind of schedule some brainstorming periods where you can come up with more ideas. So yeah, definitely more consistency than just kind of a quick blast of frequency.
One of the conversations that happens in my house a lot, my wife, Danielle, is also a self-employed person. So we have two self-employed people running in our house. It's always great to, she's working in the basement. I'm working in the bedroom.
Yep. My wife and I are the same.
Same. We have small businesses, or what we would consider a small business, big to some and small to others. She knows every Tuesday, 7 a.m. my blog comes out. So, in some weeks, I will be up at 3 in the morning on Monday night, the night before, early Tuesday morning, preparing and getting the blog out because I just didn't have time that week. And for me, it is now a matter of after doing it 150 times, it's a consistent part of my routine. It's a part of my habit. Her, on the other hand, she has a blog. She's not as consistent about it. She does great with her business. It just doesn't rely as heavily on the blogging component as I think mine does in order to get my name out. Now, what's great about it, and you hit a home run when you said this, Dayne, is that the consistency factor will get you known out there in the, as you're Googling, Doug Sandler or customer service or Mr. Nice Guy or anything like that. You want to own that front page. If you can own that, your business a lot of traffic will be driven to your business. Hey, Dayne, if somebody is interested they don't know where to start. I'm assuming a small percentage of people that are listening in the Nice Guy community are actually, they're not bloggers. They're attorneys and they're accountants and they're architects and they're HVAC people and they're all sorts of different things out there, but they're not writers. They don't want to write. Where is what's the first step? Is the first step in talking to a company like yours, or is there an easier step to go? I don't know. I don't even, because I do it, I'm caught up in the middle of it, so I don't really even know what to do. Where would they go?
Yeah, so I think a good first step would be to, if they're interested in doing it themselves and say, I don't hate writing, let's try it out. I would say a big step for us is kind of separating the brainstorming and the writing part of the post. So if they want to try it out themselves, don't sit down at the computer and say, what am I going to write about? That's
what I do, though.
Yeah, that makes it really stressful. If you can do it once a month, okay, I'm going to come up with 5 ideas. I'm going to use 4 over the next 4 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
That helps out a lot because then you sit down and you have the topic. I do it with my own blogs. We do it with all of our clients. So that's kind of a place to make it a little easier if the person wants to do it themselves. If not, I would just ask if it's a small company or even a larger company, just ask people in the company if they'd be interested in trying out blogging. See if they have an interest in writing. They might be heavy social media users themselves. They might enjoy different kinds of writing. See if there's someone in the company that you think you could set up a schedule and have them kind of do the blogging. If not, and if that's not the case, if no one's interested, and that certainly does happen in companies of all sizes, then it's kind of look for, a freelance writer or an agency, a company like ours that can kind of step in and help out.
It's hard to figure out what direction you want to go. As a small company, you have to wear many hats, and if one of them is blogger, in addition to being marketing manager, in addition to being salesperson, in addition to being customer support, and all that, sometimes you get pulled in just a few too many directions. As you can imagine, in owning a business yourself. Let me move off the subject of blogging and just talk about you as an entrepreneur and a guy running his own business. How did you get your phone to start ringing?
Yeah, so it was kind of weird. I had a full-time job. I actually worked for a footwear catalog company. So kind of the old school marketing is where my base was. But I was curious about blogging. I started blogging on my own. And a business owner I knew, small business, they knew through a friend or connection that I kind of had a blog or an interest in blogging, and they asked if I wanted to write a weekly post for their website. And so that was kind of customer number 1. And then the next customer came out of someone I was following on Twitter, another small business owner, just out of the blue said that they wanted to start blogging again for their company blog, didn't have anyone to do it. So I just sent them a direct message, and that became customer number 2. And then I think I got the next few customers after that just off of job boards of businesses looking for, social media associate or blog writer. And so it was kind of outreach.
Off and running now, off and running.
Yeah, not quite that quick, but over a few months.
Off and crawling.
It was a small side business to start, but I was learning the ropes. And then, but in the meantime, I looked at, launch a basic website and do my own blogging. I wanted to kind of practice what I preach. Mm-hmm. So in those early days, I knew I wasn't going to get a lot of traffic or any traffic, but I still wanted to build up that inventory of posts. And then now the majority of our clients come through our website, and the blog helps with that quite a bit.
Are you okay with giving some numbers about how many blogs do you guys write in the course of a month? So I don't write any posts for our clients. It's in the hundreds for the clients, and then I still write 3 posts a week for our own blog. And I've been kind of bouncing around where I might give up 2 of those a week. I still want to do at least 1 a week where it's kind of my own thoughts on entrepreneurship, business, and marketing and things like that. But yeah, it's quite a few. Oh, that sounds like it's a lot. Just writing 1 a week drives me nuts. I mean, I love doing it because I love providing content, and the podcast obviously is a different level of content. So we just finished our 200th episode in the recording of our 200th episode. So between that and my blog, I probably have 1,000 pieces of content that are floating out there on the internet, which is why it's so great when you do anything customer service related, with anything close to the word nice or customer service or almost any of those. You want to own that first page. I always encourage everybody, Google your name and see what happens.
Yep.
And if you don't own that first page, and that first page isn't all positive information and all stuff that relates to your brand, then you got some work to do. And part of the work is through blogging.
Yep. Yeah. Whatever it is, whatever type of content. And you don't get to 100, 500, 1,000 until you kind of commit to a schedule. It's almost like a monthly savings account. You're not going to get to the big number unless you start and kind of set up a schedule and then be patient about it.
As we know, like, technology plays a role in everything. So what's the frontier of blogging look like? Is it video blogging, social blogging, Snapchat? Oh, God, I hate Snapchat and Instagram. It's not that I hate them. I just don't use them. I guess I could probably get to know them a little bit more. But like the short story thing, video thing seems to be like really trendy and catching. Is it something that's going to last as long as the printed word, though? What do you think?
I think there's room for those kind of, I'll call them basic forms of media, but I guess some could look at it as a little more advanced. But text, audio, video, I think whatever forms those are in, I think there's an audience for each one of those, whether it's someone that wants to read or someone that wants to listen to a podcast, gives them a little more mobility, or someone that wants to get the visual aspect. I think whether it's Snapchat, Facebook, they all kind of offer all 3 now. And I think there's a place for all of them.
It's amazing that there is such a short, small overlap between the folks that listen to my podcast and the folks that read my blog. It is only recently that people are really making that turn. I notice we call them our Funkin' fans, just so you know that I'm not yelling at you or anything. our Funkin' fans, there's only a small handful that are actually on both of my channels. So it's very interesting, because I have this whole different avatar in my mind who reads my blog as who listens to my podcast. And I guess you're right. It is just a matter of putting out, as much content on as many different channels as you can that you're comfortable with, if that's where your audience resides.
Yeah, definitely. If you're starting out, if you know, or you can talk to a couple of your current clients or people that you think are your audience and see which one they prefer, start there. And then, because like you've been saying, it's a lot to do podcast and blogging. It's a lot to do one. And if you're going to do more than one, definitely try to start with the one you think would be the best chance of reaching your target audience. But there's definitely a broader audience if you can do multiple.
Dayne, how can our community get in touch with you if they want more information about your services? I think they're fascinating. I think it's so needed. And if we don't have them, if people aren't blogging, then I'm a proponent to putting the printed word out there. So how can our audience get in touch with you?
Yeah, best way. So our website is ghostblogwriters.com. And for me personally, the two channels I use most are Twitter. I'm just at Dayne Shuda. And then I'm also on LinkedIn. Just search for Dayne Shuda, and they should be able to connect with me there.
And we'll make sure that we put all of Dayne's contact information right there in the show notes, and just click behind that cover art, and it'll be there as well. Dayne, do you have time for just a couple of personal questions? I don't know if you've listened to the show a couple of times, you might know the questions that are coming, but if not, can I ask you the questions anyway?
Yep, go ahead.
All right. So, Dayne, do you have an iPhone or something inferior?
I have an iPhone.
Excellent. Okay, so you are a part of the tribe. That is good. So look at your phone. Go to your. Do you have your phone anywhere near you?
I got it right next to me.
Perfect. Look at your last photo that you took. What is the last photo of?
So my wife and I are just getting started building a new house. So I have a picture of the foundation.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. So that is the last picture.
What part of the country do you live in?
I live in western Wisconsin. It's about hour or two outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota, on the Wisconsin side.
All right. And final question. Last text message, both sent and received. So what's the last one that you received?
All right. Let me see here. Looks like a message from my wife. I was on the way home from the driving range, and she said that dinner was started, and then I texted back after I walked in the house, just kind of as a joke. I texted okay, because she always gives me a little bit of grief for not responding to her text, but I keep my phone at my side whenever I'm driving, even if it buzzes. So I responded once I got back in the house.
Oh, nice. So there is a safe guy for you. He does not text and drive, and that is good. Do you have a family, Dayne, or is it just you, the two of you?
Just the two of us for now, yep.
Excellent. Well, Dayne, thank you. You've been a good contributor to the show, and I know that our nice guy community will get a lot of good information if they just head over to your website. Again, information will be in the show notes. Nice guy community. Never underestimate the power of nice. Dayne Shuda, thanks for being a part of our show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Our pleasure. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
Nice Guy community, what do you think of the Nice Guys podcast? Is it A, interesting, informative, intelligent business information that's really helpful? B, a couple of guys who think they're funny, but actually have an inflated perception of their own self-worth? C, same shit, different podcast? Or D, all of the above? Go with D.